This episode of Says Who is brought to you by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho. Our Patreon, where pretty much every Sunday, though I will admit the death of my mother has made it so not the last couple Sundays, but most Sundays you do get a whole nother bonus episode. You get me and Maureen doing this all over again, doing a little thing we call the Town Watch. That's if you give it the $5 or $10 a month level. That $10 a month level also gets you a sticker in the mail through anything, rain, sleet, snow, deaths, who cares? You're getting a fucking sticker done. I'm getting that shit done. Doesn't matter. Fucking stack those bodies up, you're still getting a sticker. That's if you give it the $10 a month level. Patreon.com/sayswho.
Okay, we're going to take a second. We're going to breathe. Take a deep breath. And hey, everybody, it's me, Maureen, author of books. Say, do you want something fun? Do you? Do you? Have you ever said, I could solve the mystery if only I was given the case file? Well, guess what? If you order, You Are the Detective, The Creeping Hand Murder, that's a case file. You read the case file, you solve the case, you open the envelope, you solve it. How's about that?
That's a simple proposition.
Yeah.
That I like the sound of.
Also, it's still Pride Month.
It's true.
Would you like to read a straight up classic murder mystery that is also queer and anti-eugenics and anti-fascist?
Yeah, I would.
Well, Death at Morning House is all those things.
Hey.
It turns out that when you full on to the point write about the eugenicists and fascists, it becomes more and more relevant as time goes on.
It's weird how that works.
Death at Morning House. It's anti-fascist. It's queer. It's a murder mystery. And you can solve the mystery with You Are the Detective. These are books.
That's true. And if you would like to order some books from the internet, you can always go to kickbezosintheballs.org. That is our own little bookshop. That dude rented out the entire city of Venice for his wedding this week.
Did he?
So, kick him in the balls.org. Get yourself some books. And if you're in the mood of buying things on the internet, why not go to merch.sayswhopodcast.com, where we have Says Who merchandise, or you can always go to shop.dansinker.com, where I sell some patches and some shirts and some stickers. The internet.
Did he really rent out most of Venice?
Yes. His wedding costs $500 million.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He's throwing a $500
right now.
He's throwing a $500 million wedding.
Mm-hmm. Who among us, Maureen? Who among us?
What even happens at could we look that up? Because I'd like to know what the fuck you get for $500 million for a single weekend.
Well, I'm glad that you're asking, because I just pulled up. We'll talk about it. We should probably get through the. Should we just go? Should we just play the music?
Welcome. See that?
Mm-hmm.
I am a trickster. I am a trickster, Maureen.
That's true. Finish
welcome.
the part. Yeah, there we go.
Just Says Who. The podcast is not a podcast.
It's a coping strategy. I am Dan Sinker.
I'm Maureen Johnson, and I am a sticker. Says I voted.
Maureen is displaying for me her I voted sticker.
Just Five Cuomos.
Five Cuomos straight down.
The Five Cuomos.
It is.
Which either sounds like a Lost Bergman film or a sandwich chain.
I like
Five Cuomos. It's a Five Cuomos sells. The sandwiches are terrible, but on the bright side, they're overpriced. You know what I mean?
Like the
fries
not unlike
are always
Five Guys. It's basically
I've never had Five
and
Guys.
overpriced. Yeah,
is it not good?
It's very, very strange to me that Five Guys is a nationwide chain, because it's not good. The only thing it has going for it is that there are these large cardboard boxes in the sort of the middle of the floor full of peanuts, and you can scoop up as many peanuts as you want.
Like with your hand?
No, you can get like a little paper tray, put some peanuts in there, but the rest of it's bad. So Five Cuomos
Really?
would continue a tradition.
Here's the thing. When you're a vegetarian, all burger chains have like that thing at the end that's like, if you're lucky, it's like, and you'll have an Impossible Burger. Like, just that's what you're having. So you're getting a universal experience.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Except, I will say this.
Yeah.
I try not to eat those too often because they're just like, who even knows what those are?
Right.
But on one occasion, because I haven't had fast food I haven't gone to a McDonald's or like a Burger King or anything in like 25 years or something, like just some insane amount of time because there was nothing for me to eat.
Right.
And I just tried not to eat fast food, but I was like, I had an actual Whopper. I kind of broke the chain. It was, I don't know, I was somewhere. Oh, I was at a roadside in England. And there was like a Burger King there that had, and it was something was going on. I was like, I'm going to have a big day. I'm going to have a Whopper. And sitting on a roadside in England, it was pretty, and it wasn't the worst services in England. It was like a pretty okay one where you sort of sat in the trees.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible. Pet a dog. It wasn't the worst.
Yum. Yum. That's what I'm
just saying
Yum.
It's a universe. And they don't have that at Five Cuomos. They have like that kind of burger patty that's made of square bits of carrot and frozen pea. That used to be the old veggie burger. It was kind of just filled with square carrots, peas, and filler. I don't know, cement.
Yeah, it was like
sand?
I think
no
it
one knows.
It was like it was wood shavings. I think.
Yeah,
it was just wood shaving and carrots.
Tell you what, though,
those things would you would bite into them and they would just sort of crumble like
straight from the pencil sharpener to your mouth.
Exactly. Not good.
But Dan,
one of my favorite things about the fake meats that exist now is that an integral role to them all is the company that makes Dippin' Dots. That the little white circles inside your when you get your, the frozen or the ground beef thing, and there's like they look like little fat bits, right? But it's some kind of white circle, and it's actually a Dippin' Dot that contains the whatever oil, so it melts like a fat, but it's Dippin' Dots.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I keep trying to make vegetarian sausages from scratch, and let me tell you, someday I will make a vegetarian sausage that doesn't look like an abomination unto God. But today and all the previous days have not been that day. They always look awful.
I mean, to be fair to you, that's sort of what sausage looks like.
These look especially terrible.
Okay.
Like they're just, I mean, you have to use a lot of, because I've tried to do it with beans and crushed, like all kinds of crushed things, but you need like a vital wheat gluten. And then even then you're still in dicey territory. I've yet to master it. A patty though, you can master a patty.
Sure.
Patty's just a patty.
There's a difference. What are you using as a casing? Some kind of, or are you doing casingless?
You just kind of roll it.
Yeah, that's going to end up bad.
No, it's not good.
No.
And they taste bad too.
No, well, perfect. It's a perfect combination then. Looks bad, tastes bad.
Tastes bad. Five Cuomos. That's their slogan.
But what are the vibes in New York City, Maureen, on your election day?
It is 101 degrees in New York City.
That's nice. Yeah, that just broke today. Today is the first non-insane day for days and days now here.
As a new asthmatic, the air is hard to breathe.
Yeah.
And everybody is coming out. Like people are even doing that thing where they have to, even if they've tried to pre-register to vote and the system didn't catch up, they're doing that thing where they swear an affidavit. That is how much people really hate Cuomo here.
Yeah.
And so a couple weeks ago, I went lobbying in Albany for the right to read legislation.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting and also depressing experience because everybody that I encountered in Albany seemed to genuinely hate what they did.
Oh, that's nice.
Like
Perfect.
they said things like, then I drive home and just try to wash away and forget everything that's happened. I mean, they seemed miserable. And to a person, they were all like, Cuomo's going to win.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this sucks. But the feeling on the streets, like, is very don't rank Cuomo.
Okay.
Now, this, you, there are the Upper East Sides of it all.
Right.
And the, kind of, well, Cuomo is, we know what Cuomo is.
Right.
There are a lot of dirty ads. Like the ads are filthy.
Like porn?
No, they're very super racist.
Okay. Well, you said that. I was like, wow.
They're like, look at how
this is a different campaign than I would expect.
they did things like they changed the look of Zoran's face.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
Like they expanded his beard.
Oh, sure.
And they're like, he's an anti-Semite. And they did a bunch of stuff that was like, they actually manipulated his image. And so there was a lot of like really just dirty, has a real dirty feel to it.
Yeah, yeah.
But also a very interesting feel in that there's an energy around this that, like we've had some shots at a better mayor.
Yeah.
But for example, the other day, Zoran walked the entire length of Manhattan.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Cole was like, that's a stunt. It's not a stunt. First of all, we walk in New York. And the one thing you will notice, like if you say walk Manhattan, you will notice that there is a different New York every 3 blocks.
Right, totally.
So you can also notice things like, how are the sidewalks? How's the trash pickup? Who's outside? Who's inside? How do the schools look? You can talk to people. So he talked to people all day long and walked the street. And people were into it because that's how we go around. TLDR, I feel like if Cuomo doesn't get the nomination, he will then immediately run as an independent and we're going to see some like more weird bullshit.
Yeah.
Because our Republican candidate is Curtis Sliwa,
right,
former head of the Guardian Angels.
Yeah.
Which were a vigilante group that used to ride subways.
When I was a child, there were Guardian Angels in Chicago too. I thought they were really cool.
Yeah, it was this image that there were these people that rode the subway with you and made sure that you were going to be okay.
Well, and they had cool jackets and they wore berets.
They wore red berets.
Yeah.
And but Curtis Lee was like a right-wing weirdo who, and I don't dislike this about him, brings his cat with him when he goes to vote.
He has 16 cats in his small apartment.
Yeah, he has a little apartment with 16 cats in it.
That must really smell.
I'm not mad about it, except that the cats probably don't have enough room.
Yeah.
And he goes to vote with the cat on his shoulder. Again, Eric Adams is our mayor, Dan. Like, what do you want?
So there was a moment the other day, try not to think about New York City much, but I was thinking the other day, I was like, how come I'm not hearing about Eric Adams in all this? And he's running as an independent now. So he decided that he would just jump right to the actual election.
Which I didn't even know you could do.
Apparently.
So he's just going to be another. What?
So yeah. So if you've got the thing that's wild there. So let's say you've got Cuomo manages to not get the Democratic nom, and then he immediately runs as an independent, and then you would have 4 people running, and that then feels like anything goes.
What's he going to run as? Like an independent?
Just Yeah. Eric Adams party.
The Eric Adams, the Shiny Rock Party.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
The new party of Turkish Airlines.
So you got that to look forward to.
That's
Are you
nice.
worried at all?
Yes.
Because, all right, let's say Cuomo beefs it tonight, when we won't know for a few days,
That's the
right?
other slogan of Five Cuomos. Cuomo beefs it tonight. Looks bad, tastes bad. Cuomo beefs it tonight. Imagine something slightly more depressing than a sizzler. The Five Cuomos. You won't like it, but it is expensive.
And so, is it Soran? So how do you pronounce this? It's Soran?
I believe it's Soran.
So let's say he wins. Are you at all nervous that, when he's giving his speech, he's going to reach in his pocket and slowly raise up and put a red clown nose on his nose? He's going to reveal himself to be a secret clown.
You know what? That is always the danger with our mayors.
Yeah, I know.
Because our rule is all clown mayors all the time.
Yeah.
Look, everyone disappoints us here.
I will say, as an outsider, he has run a very good campaign. It's been clever and smart.
Yeah. He lives in like a normal, he lives in Astoria somewhere, and he's, they basically, it's really been like as far as I could tell, a pretty people-powered kind of campaign that's based on like really well-organized door knocking and canvassing.
Yeah.
You can really see that effort on the streets, and like good videos. I mean, a lot of it is that's what they make fun of him for. They're like, oh, he just makes good videos. And it's like, well, yeah, he does. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Oh, I'm sorry. He's literate in the current age of how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It also has been fascinating from outside to watch how sort of the entire Democratic establishment has lined up against him and with a just true remarkable piece of shit.
Let's just be super clear that Andrew Cuomo is a sexual predator.
Yeah.
And like a kind of one of these kind of Democrats that's really just in everybody's pocket.
Yeah.
That he did things like subpoena the gynecological records of his victims.
Yeah.
That the city had to pay $60 million in legal fees for his defense in his trials. He is disgusting. Let's the COVID response. Oh, by the way, one of he's an anti-masker now. Like now you won't be able to wear masks because
perfect.
What has been entertaining is a kind of old style debate in which that one mayoral debate was amazing.
Yeah.
Because it was like everybody lined up on stage. Did you ever see that scene in the movie Airplane where the guy's is freaking out and the whole line of passengers are all lining up to beat him up and they all have a different weapon?
Yeah.
Like there's an old lady with a bat and somebody has like a frying pan. That was what it was like. Everyone's like, well, I hear your point, but I just want to say that I also hate Cuomo and he can go fuck himself. Look, I just want to step in here and say that while we're all agreed that Cuomo can go fuck himself, I want to say I told him to go fuck himself first. I just want to say that saying that he can go fuck himself is not going far enough. Where can he go fuck himself to? And with what? And even the moderators were like, Mr. Cuomo, you're a piece of shit. Can you elaborate on that? Like they really went after him.
Yeah.
Like they just wouldn't let him, they didn't do that thing where they let everybody slide and not answer the question. They're like, no, the question was, why is it that you have, like, can you explain why people should trust you after you have 14 cases of sexual assault against you?
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah.
It was spicy. Like it felt like almost like we were acting like people.
Almost.
Almost.
Almost. Well, I'm
But
excited for you all. I'm excited to see how you fuck this one up.
God damn it, Dan.
I don't have a lot of faith in New York's ability to elect a mayor.
What?
I mean,
No, come on. When have we ever failed? Imagine a race. Best case scenario, we have a race between either Brad Lander or Zoran,
yeah,
Cuomo,
yeah,
Eric Adams,
yeah.
and Curtis Sliwa.
I think Sliwa's coming out with it on that one.
I mean, what a lineup.
That'll be something.
Just think about that. Think about it, Dan.
It's not great. Have fun with it.
There is
Lean
a
into
spicy. Just the words "don't rank Cuomo" though are everywhere.
Yeah, I mean it has been very amazing to see just how much, and for a long time, really before anyone emerged as a real alternative, they were saying don't rank. Like the level of organizing around that has been remarkable to witness from the outside.
Yeah, it has been very and so also because it is so hot today.
Yeah,
this is terrible, but like some of the only people that are going to be able to withstand this heat are going to be younger people.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's awful, but true.
Yeah, having it come down to the final day and having it be this brutal does, that is like, we've had a couple election days where you've got crazy storms, and it's like that will affect the final outcome.
We did have, a week or so of early voting. So there were chances to vote before this. But we'll see. I guess we'll start seeing some of the picture of what's happening tonight. But
it takes a few days with ranked choice.
But it feels like this has gone very national. Like everyone's like, hey, what are you doing there in New York?
Well, also because everything about New York, we all have to know about it.
That's right. You know why?
People.
Greatest city in the world.
Because you're the media capital. So
write
about yourselves. But Maureen Johnson.
What?
It's not just oppressive heat that's in the air.
No.
Love is in the air as well. Because Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez are getting hitched. Let's peruse this NPR story that I pulled up during the intro, shall we? Bezos, the Amazon founder and Washington Post owner, is one of the world's richest men with an estimated net worth of $231 billion. According to Bloomberg's Billionaires Index, he and Sanchez, a former news anchor and licensed pilot, I like that they threw that in, got engaged in 2023, 4 years after going public with their relationship. Their nuptials have been the subject of speculation and intense secrecy ever since. After returning from the brief and widely panned all-female spaceflight she organized on one of Bezos' Blue Origin rockets in April, Sanchez quipped that she had to make it back safely for her wedding, otherwise, quote, that would be a bummer for me. Newsflash, she wouldn't know. Probably be a bummer for other people.
This is terrible. Was that her bachelorette party?
I hope so.
Oh, God.
They floated a bunch of little penis gummies in the air.
It kind of was, though, wasn't it, Dan?
It definitely was.
Oh, Jesus.
Sanchez's brother Paul has compared it to the 1981 royal wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer, telling TMZ in March, quote, I think it's going to be like a Princess Di thing. I don't think that means what a person thinks it means. Because I just think about her dying.
Or the fact that he was cheating on her and they didn't really, all the terrible things that were going on.
Yeah. While
coercion,
precise details about the wedding remain under wraps, Italian media and global newswires report that it will be held in Venice in late June. Reports of a multi-day, multi-million-dollar affair is expected to draw hundreds of celebrants to a fragile lagoon city already grappling with over-tourism, sparked concerns in Italy. In March, the city of Venice denied media reports that wedding organizers had reserved large numbers of gondolas and water taxis for the event, which has fueled fears of disruption for the tourists and locals who use them for daily transport. Venetian officials said there would be only 200 guests, an easily accommodated number for a city used to hosting all sorts of political summits, cultural events, and VIP weddings, including George and Amal Clooney's in 2014. Let's see. Let's skip ahead. That hasn't stopped protesters from making their disapproval known. Activists uniting under the No Space for Bezos movement, I like that, have taken issue with what they call the privatization of their city. And local governments perceive prioritization of tourism over the needs of its residents. Throughout the month, protesters have hung anti-Bezos posters and banners on various locations across the city, including the bell tower of the San Giorgio Maggiore Basilica and the famous Rialto Bridge. On Monday, activists from Greenpeace Italy and the UK group Everyone Hates Elon joined the action. They hung a banner in St. Mark's Square with a picture of Bezos laughing and the words, quote, "If you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax." I love it.
Wow. Yes.
But it's very secretive. Let's see. Where and when is the wedding? Writers and others say the window is likely June 26th through 28th, while the AP, citing Italian media, previously reported it would be June 24th through 26th. A spokesperson for Venice's mayor told CNN in March that it would take place on Bezos' 417-foot super yacht. The ship has made headlines before. In 2022, the Dutch city of Rotterdam considered temporarily dismantling a historic bridge to allow the ship to leave the shipyard.
Yeah, that's right.
But reversed course after residents protested, including threatening to egg it. Other outlets, including CNN and The Hollywood Reporter, report that the couple may get married on the private island of San Giorgio Maggiore, specifically in the monastery there. The No Space for Bezos activists, meanwhile, say the wedding is supposed to take place in the 14th century school armory turned event venue. Dude, yeah. So, and the organizers say Bezos will never get there. Told supporters, "We will block the canals, line the streets with our bodies, block the canals with inflatables, dinghies, and boats."
Yes.
I love it. Do it. Do it.
Do you think that his wedding is going to have one of those buffets that has 3 proteins? You know what I mean? He got the steak, the chicken, and the second chicken, or...
And the fish. Yeah, this is what you got, usually.
And an Impossible Burger, Five Cuomos, the official caterer of
come on,
Jeff
let's
Bezos.
Face facts. You're going to get some roasted vegetables, and you're going to like it.
True.
When I used to run a conference, we fed all of the attendees, and that was one of the big things when we talked to the caterers. We do not want the vegetarian option to be some roasted vegetables. That is not okay. And they were good with that.
They're like, but what else do they eat?
Yeah, but okay, but a pepper isn't a vegetable.
Do you want to hear? So I had some flight that I was being sent up. I was being flown across the country, and maybe it was for like Let It Snow, and I was sent first class because that was like in the I didn't do it. Like it was how I was sent, and I got to pre-order my.
Talk about you like you were like sent through the post office.
They kind of summoned us to like look at stuff. So
they slapped a label on my chest and threw me in a truck. That's
sort of what, when you're an author on tour, you are just like, you will be going these places. But I just selected, vegetarian or vegan. I often hit vegan for breakfast because I don't eat eggs. So I just say vegan.
Yeah, makes sense.
And So I'm sitting in our first class, which is already kind of embarrassing. And then they come and they put the little napkin down on your tray to make it fancy. And they brought me my breakfast. And everyone else got like omelets and bacon and pancakes and all kinds of stuff. And I still remember this vividly.
Okay.
I got 3 grapes, 4 pieces of cold steamed asparagus, 2 slices of raw red pepper,
Mm.
and then the side dish was 2 more pieces of cold steamed asparagus
Mm.
and a roll with no butter.
It's a continental breakfast.
And sometimes when I think about it, I still feel like I'm going to throw up. Like there's something about being served cold asparagus in general that I'm always like, ugh, like it's just so gross.
You don't
And
like
as
that little bit of
breakfast-
slime that a cold asparagus has?
I was like, oh man, yuck. Like it just was so gross. This is why vegetarians always carry a snack in your pocket. Always carry a snack in your pocket. Always.
Okay.
Never not carrying a snack on a plane.
There you go. News you can use.
You turn me upside down just like Lara bars fall out.
All right.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, Maureen
cold-
Johnson.
Remember that time Dr. Oz was going to make a crudité platter? And he's like, your standard crudité platter. Raw asparagus and salsa. And it's still, I'm like, ugh, like it's so gross to me. The idea, I don't know why. It's so gross.
Are you talking about Dr. Oz, the administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid?
How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah, you forgot that, didn't you? You forgot that motherfucker is running things in government.
I don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
Will you say these things to me?
Who do you think in the cold, harsh reality of 2025?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think actually was going to end up being the worst senator, Dr. Oz or Fetterman?
Dr. Oz is a senator?
Well, he lost to Fetterman, right?
Right. That's right. That's right. That's what that was for. I think I had a minor kind of cerebral event just then. Like
Yeah,
my brain was
understandable.
was rejecting things.
Yeah.
Man, Fetterman. Woof,
Yeah.
huh?
Right? Yeah.
What?
Not great.
Something's going on there though. Something's going on there.
It does seem that it's not great.
Yeah.
It does seem like it's not great. But yeah, that choice. Remember when he won? It was like, this is awesome. Not so much now.
No. Well, speaking of not great,
yeah, I was going to say to that end, Maureen Johnson, I believe when last we spoke, and I will point out that I am still very much in the shit of post surprise mother death, which involves is my dad died a number of years ago. As longtime listeners, know, my dad died a few years ago because that was also while we were recording. But so that means now we got to deal with a whole house, which is not a process that I would recommend to anyone, and makes me want to literally get rid of all earthly possessions of mine right now, while I'm still kicking it. So I have for the last number of weeks lived my life in a bit of a haze where I'll just sort of I will often be heads down, quite often in a basement. And then suddenly I'll kind of put my head up and I'll be like, oh, what the fuck's happening now? And then I'll go back down into the basement and open up another box. And so when last we spoke, Israel had launched some missiles toward Iran, or fighter planes had dropped bombs on Iran. And Iran had been launching missiles back Israel's way. And everyone was sort of like, well, this doesn't seem great. And then, and at the time, Donald Trump was like, well, we don't know what we're going to do. We're going to take 2 weeks to figure it out, blah, 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 blah. And then, Mr. Sleight of Hand.
So I just want to interject here. And
yeah,
this is the how did you find out? Well, because I'm getting ready, we're going to be in England we're essentially going to be gone for July.
Yeah.
So Dexy is a fussy eater.
Okay.
And the only way we could really, like, I used to buy her these packages from Just Food for Dogs, which are frozen meals. Because for a while, that was the only thing she would eat. And then she decided she didn't eat those. And so every day she was just walking away from her food, and we were having to throw away all this food, which is a waste of food. And not for nothing. And they're like $12 a pack or whatever. Like, it was just like a tremendous amount of food that was going to waste. But they sell these kits that you can cook the food from scratch at home.
Yeah.
And just add the vitamin mix in.
Okay.
But you have to go and source like gizzards and hearts and livers and disgusting things.
You've taken us on that trek before.
Well, Dan, on Saturday, because I saw that we only had 4 packs of food left, I knew I was going to have one big cooking day.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be 100 degrees coming up, and I would not be able to remain in my kitchen. It would be too hot. And it was the last day of a somewhat normal temperature. I said, today's got to be the day. I turned to Oscar. I was like, that's it. It's got to be today. So I sent him to one store to get the creepy meats.
Okay.
That's the only one store has the creepy meats. So he has to go up to the creepy meats. Well, I went to Trader Joe's I bought 10 pounds of beef, 3 pounds of pork, 20 pounds of chicken, 2 sacks of rice. Like, it heavingly filled my Hulkin.
Yeah.
Then I dragged that home and I began to cook.
Okay.
Now, I have a big kitchen for Manhattan, which does not mean I have a big kitchen.
Yeah.
I just have a pretty well put together kitchen for Manhattan standards. I had it all going. I had the Instapot going. I had the rice cooker going. I had every single large kettle I owned on the stove. I had every part of counter space and everything. Had like a mixing bowl, whatever. I made 5 batches of food.
Yeah.
Which meant that I cooked, for example, 10 pounds of potatoes.
Wow.
To make enough of this. I kept turning around.
What are you guys like bringing a suitcase full of food? Like, how are you transporting this?
When we take her to camp, she will have
In my head, for some reason, this was all being prepared to then go to England.
No,
but
she's going to camp.
Yes, that makes more sense.
So I prepare all this stuff and then I freeze it in flat packs, and store it in the freezer. So she's going to need, at the bare minimum, like 21 packs, but really more like I need this to get through the beginning of August. So I needed to make at least 40 packages of food.
Yeah.
Dad, I began cooking at 4.
Okay.
Like between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
By 7, I kept turning around and finding like 2 more pounds of potatoes. I almost cried at one point because I had been dicing potatoes for so long. And I was like, and it's all done. Oh no, there's 5 more pounds of potatoes behind me. We stopped briefly to eat. Like, I was like, we're just eating last night's, like, we had leftover takeout. We're just eating that. At 10 o'clock, I was still just over halfway done.
Yeah.
And Oscar came in and was like, do you want to see the news? And that's when he held up the news and showed me that we had bombed Iran.
Yeah.
But I looked like the character from Withnail and I. That's like the crazy. If you've never seen it, just look up the images for Withnail and I, the movie.
Yeah.
There's one character played by Richard Grant, and that's what I looked like. My pupils were like pinpoints. I kept coming out and saying, this is the worst thing I've ever done. I was sweating. I felt insane. Like everything was, and I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Couldn't stop, Dan.
Yeah.
I had weird meats going. I had rice going. Everything was overflowing. There was no space. It wasn't possible.
Yeah.
And yet I was like, I still have 15 more cans of meat to cook, motherfucker. Get that thing out of my face. But that's how I found out then.
I found out. So Saturday was our first day in the heat, right? The just insane level heat. And my nose that day decided that it did not want to be attached to my face and just proceeded to try to blow itself off as efficiently and violently as possible for the entire morning. And I was like, I am dying. We the little one, who is not that little anymore, has been doing a bunch of sports things for the month of June. And so he had, I believe, a volleyball tournament that Saturday morning. And I was like in the gym and sneezing like absolute ape shitness. And finally I was like, I gotta go walk to the corner store and get something to drink. And so it was being held at the high school near us. And so my favorite thing was I was walking out, and there was a dude with like a shaved bald head with tons of head tattoos on his head. And he was FaceTiming someone speaking in Spanish. And I gave him a little nod, and he went, "Hey, I like your beard, homie." And I was like, "I like yours too, man." He had a good beard. We had a moment. Anyway, then I sneezed more. Anyway, that was how the morning began. Then we had to go to my mom's house and go into their basement, which literally almost killed me. Like because it's real damp and gross, and I could not stop sneezing. My face was just like liquid was pouring out of my face the entire time, but we had to go through all this shit because there was sort of a crew of aunts and cousins that were coming to like take shit out. So I kind of had to assess what I didn't want to have taken. Came back, and I was like, I have to nap in a dark room immediately in the hopes that I could finally get my nose under control. And right before I closed my eyes, I opened my phone, and I was like, oh, this is weird. People are reposting Trump from Truth Social saying that he bombed something, but I don't think that's right, because I'm looking at all of these news sites and they all say that it's not happening. And I had literally turned it on in the like 2-minute window where the news had not gotten anywhere but Truth Social. And so then I did not take a nap, and I sneezed more. That's how I found out.
Yes. There was, so we bombed Iran because
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it, just because. And we dropped, in theory, some sort of insane level of penetrative bomb in order to get to the half-mile down centrifuges or whatever. It's very hard to know what is true and what is not in any of all of this, right? But it certainly seems that it was originally reported that like, oh, we wiped it out, and then it was reported maybe a day or two later like, oh, I think that they didn't quite do the job that we thought they had. Anyway, point being, fast forward today, or actually I guess last night.
Oh, last night, because my father called me to tell me.
Oh, okay. Well, what did your father call to tell you?
My father said, "Did you hear the news?" And I was like, because I'd been in the middle of working, and I said, "What?" And he said, "Trump said that there's a ceasefire." And I looked it up, and I'm like, well, it's on Truth Social, Dad. Like, that doesn't mean it's real. I'm like, he uses Truth Social all the time. So I tried to explain some of that, and he didn't believe me. And, we went through all of that. So Trump went out on Truth Social and was like, I did it. I'm the best.
Yeah.
And I thought they had a 12-hour window. Apparently they had a 6-hour window to stop Israel and Iran to stop firing at each other.
Yeah.
And they absolutely did not stop firing at each other.
No.
And so this morning,
yeah,
these reporters gathered around Trump, who said, I think what we're all going to say is maybe the only time he's ever said anything relatable.
Yeah, for real.
And he said, he said, I'm very angry at Israel. And I'm really angry at Israel because you can't just say you're not going to bomb and drop all your stuff. The thing is that these are two countries that have been fighting for so long. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that? And then he ran away.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, he just said that they don't know what the fuck. He actually said those words.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think.
Is that the first time we've gotten an out loud fuck from a U.S. president?
He's definitely dropped an F-bomb before, but I think it might have been when he was campaigning. But certainly, like, to a news reporter on the White House lawn, yes. You know, the...
exciting times.
Yeah, I think when Obamacare passed, there were a bunch of reports that I think it was Biden said to Obama, it's a big fucking deal or something like that. And it was like, but we didn't actually get it on camera. But yeah, there's definitely the energy of, you know, this is a man who wants to be the most important dude in the room, who it seems just sort of randomly announced that there was a ceasefire, despite the fact that nobody actually had agreed to a ceasefire at the time. And then it did seem that there was sort of an opportunistic level of like people being like, well, I guess we'll just go with Grandpa's fiction here. Sure. Yeah, it's a ceasefire. But then he got real mad because it turns out that they're just going to do what they want anyway. So, you know, we'll see where it goes.
He put out 2 tweets or whatever. It was on Trump social, Trump Truth Social, whatever.
Is honestly the more realistic thing.
Again, all caps.
Yeah.
9 hours ago, this one said, or it was probably longer than that. The ceasefire is now in effect. Please do not violate it. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States.
Yep.
Then 6 hours later, Israel, period. Do not drop those bombs, period. If you do, it is a major violation, period. Bring your pilots home. Now, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States.
So
now I love the way he signed these because it's usually with something. It's usually with a thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I love.
Well, this way, you know, it's really official. One, I like the idea that now every country needs to be on Truth Social in order to know what the fuck is happening. Like, it's like 10 years ago, if it was like, oh, in order to know what is actually going to happen to you, you've got to be on Plurk or something, right? Like, the world's, nobody's on that fucking thing, right? But it's like, here, now I'm going to like tweet out really consequential things on this tiny little social network that basically just exists for you know, one-way communications. But the other thing, that Israel one, is essentially, so my dog is quite old now, right? And I think that she is dead set in going out doing what she loves, which is eating random shit off the ground, because her choices of what to eat have gotten stranger and stranger and more sort of foreboding. Eating a lot of dirt lately, just eating dirt, just loving it, eating that dirt. But one thing in particular, there is essentially a piece of squirrel jerky in our alley that keeps getting run over by more vehicles and that sort of thing. And if I'm not thinking right, she'll kind of lug me to, you know, into the alley, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. You're tired because you're old. You want to do sort of a half block instead of the whole block. By the way, I should probably translate for you. So, Maureen, alleys are these sort of streets in the middle of a block that trash cans, which are receptacles that people put their garbage into, are put out on, and then garbage trucks drive down those instead of stuff being piled up.
Childish.
Anyway, so she'll lug me down the alley, and I will almost always forget, and suddenly she'll stop, and I'll be like, oh, you're old and tired. You need to take a little breather. And then I'll realize, oh, fuck. And I'll look, and she'll have this piece of squirrel jerky hanging out of her mouth. And I will basically say the exact same thing to her that Donald Trump said to Israel. Be like, don't do it.
Stop
You
it.
put that down right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, Dan, if you can't trust Israel and Iran not to do anything weird, then who can you trust? You know what I mean?
Really, what is anything?
The two most stable regimes in the world right now.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yep.
They don't just go
absolutely.
off and do shit. What are you talking about?
No. They say a thing, you can put that shit in the bank. That's been true, still true. Oh, reliable.
I mean, that guy got played so bad. And do you think he just realized it was like he was realizing it for the first time?
Yeah.
That players only love you when they're playing. Women, they may come and they may go, but when the rain washes you clean, you'll know. You know what I mean?
Wow. What were you referring there?
What are you talking about?
I don't. What?
Players only love you when they're playing, Dan. Women, they may come and they will go. You don't. I'm ashamed of you. How dare you, sir?
Dude, I don't know shit about Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, come on. That's Stevie Nicks.
Yeah,
The
no.
witch herself. Come on.
Okay.
When the rain washes you clean, Dan, you'll know. Oh, you will know.
Yeah.
Well, here you go again. You say you want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down, Dan?
Oh. I thought you were going, here we go again on my own.
Oh, yeah.
Going down the only road I've ever known. Like a something.
Like a something.
To walk alone.
Like a what? Like a potato? Like what?
Yep, like a potato. Here we go. All right. No, lyrics. Come on. There we are. Like a drifter. I was born to walk alone. Man, that era of hair metal was all poetry all the time.
Well, Dan, just right before we recorded, you told me something incredible because I said this era. So right after 9/11, this comic appeared that was famous and beloved. It was called Get Your War On.
Yeah.
And you basically only got it by passing it through emails.
Right.
That was sort of the only way you could get it. And it was just stock art. And it was like there was only like, I don't know how many frames there were. Not that many. Yeah. And it was just new text bubbles being stuck in these same frames.
Was like stock art. It was like clip art of businessmen talking on the phone to each other.
Yeah.
David Reese. So Punk Planet Magazine was the very first place to print Get Your War On.
Wow.
I reached out to him and he was like, sure, I guess. I think then Rolling Stone picked it up after that, but we were first.
See, that's amazing.
I know.
It was huge and somehow everybody had it. It just got passed from person to person. And also, did Zoltron appear suddenly in the back of some frames? Or am I dreaming?
Voltron, you mean?
Voltron, yeah.
You got your Voltron and your mayoral candidate mixed up. Mixed up, there.
Yeah. Did he appear?
Yes, I think Voltron did show up at various points. It got very surreal at times. It was incredible. So that would have been in like 2001, which was when the Punk Planet book came out. And that was through Akashic Books, and Johnny Temple, who ran Akashic, and I had discussed, didn't happen for a number of years, but had discussed doing like a Punk Planet imprint. And at the time I was like, dude, these comics are amazing and we should do this as a book. And he was like, I don't get it. And then like a year later, the book got put out, I think by Soft Skull Press, like another, sort of cool indie. And Johnny was like, yeah, I was wrong about that one. It's like, yeah, you were.
Really? Because everything after that was like really like gung-ho, like that gung-ho Americanism was so gross and everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what it captured was like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, we're going to go do freedoms.
It it was interesting to try to see like CNN and that sort of thing, like jumpstart those old generators again on like Saturday night. They're like pulling the ripcord, trying to get them to go, like the normal sort of jingoism, America, fuck yeah, we're gonna drop these bombs, let's go kind of coverage. And I just feel like nobody was having it.
It was like a movie where, the superhero has to go to the basement to dust off the box that has their cape in it. Like, I got to go do one more job. And it just said Operation American Freedom on the cape, and, weapons of mass destruction, and the map to the weapons of mass destruction. That's just a couple of footprints and an X on a treasure map. And we've done this.
Yeah.
And unbelievably, we were about to do the weapons of mass destruction thing again.
Yep.
Exciting.
And, we probably still will. I can't imagine that Angry Grandpa is going to stick around for long. Like, doesn't feel... this moment does not feel like it's going to be able to last. So we'll see where we go. Not happy about it.
Well, okay, again, I am not the person you turn to for geopolitics, but a couple things seem to be true here at once.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of players interested in not having there be a conflict there on two sides. There are a lot of reasons that it would be bad for people, countries or regimes like China and Russia that are relying on Iran for a couple things, or the Strait of Hormuz for things, or for weapons, etc., and fuel.
Yeah.
So they're like, cool it. We need that straight open. We need you to be doing, we need stuff to be happening here.
Yeah.
Stuff fucking around. And at the same time, you have probably, honestly, I think most of the U.S. was probably like, we had not really been intending on doing that, but Israel's like, fuck, like Leroy Jenkinsing its way in, because they're like, well, you're going to have to follow us. Right. Leroy, God damn it, Leroy. Like, and then so what Netanyahu is a man in a pickle, because he's a very corrupt, dangerous, and scary man.
Yeah.
Who is, doing some incredibly terrible things, and has always, this is his dream. Can't a guy have a dream?
Yeah.
So, Dan, this guy's got a project. He's he's finally having a summer where he's making about himself. You know what I mean? Like, so he wants this, Dan, and he's much smarter than Trump.
I mean, my feeling once I stopped sneezing finally was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I've been in the streets protesting wars in the Middle East since I was 14 fucking years old. First Gulf War. I took the fucking L by myself to protest. And it's like, Christ, that was a long goddamn time ago. And here we go. Like, all right, as I'm going back out, it was just this exhausted resignation of like, we're doing this shit again, huh?
Last night I was doing some fun rereading on Iran-Contra, like what that was about.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'd forgotten a lot about what Iran-Contra was about.
Yep. Oliver North now has a, lucrative TV and podcast career. Yeah.
The Fawn Hall, the secretary who would smuggle documents out in her boots.
That's who Fawn Hall was?
Yeah, that was his secretary that jammed the shredder, so she would walk out with documents in her. And she eventually married the manager for the Doors and had a bad cocaine problem. I don't know. I'm not making it. Look, I don't make the rules. Like, it was a whole thing. So, yeah, we weren't supposed to be selling weapons to Iran because of the whole, Iranian revolution thing that, because we had taken in the Shah and, the Iranian hostage crisis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then we did. Then we did, because Reagan wanted to fund the Contras. So we sold a bunch of arms to Iran, and then everyone found out and was like, we're not supposed to be doing that. And so they basically tried to eat the documents, like they were found.
I'm just I'm a little bit I'm stuck here in the Fawn Hall Wikipedia entry, which personal life has two subheads: relationships and cocaine addiction. But after cocaine addiction, there's just a single sentence like below that, the cocaine addiction paragraph, that just says, as of 2012, Hall was living in West Hollywood, working at a bookstore.
Book Soup, apparently.
Oh, really?
That link, which I did,
all this.
Well, no, I clicked it last night. I was like, what bookstore? And it said Book Soup. I was like, well, there you go.
Wow. That was a long time ago, though. That was 13 years ago.
Not Iran-Contra, that she was working at Book Soup.
Yes, that's what I mean. Iran-Contra was a lot more than 13 years ago.
Yeah. This bullshit's been going on for some time.
A very long time. You know what else has been going on a long time?
Always a good opportunity to rewatch Argo, a movie.
Yeah, that's true.
That for some reason I can't get enough of, especially on planes.
Or to read Persepolis, which is an incredible graphic novel about life in Iran during the Cultural Revolution, or whatever they called it.
A better choice.
A remarkably good book. Also, I will point out, the only book ever attempted to be banned by the Chicago public school system. They did not successfully ban it.
I just like movies, that part of movies where there's like something's about to happen and that everyone has to run around and like people are about to come into, like there's a similar scene in, I think it's The Killing Fields.
Yeah.
Where like they're running down the hall with the burn boxes.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in Argo before the student revolutionaries enter the building that they're trying to like destroy everything.
Yeah.
And the shredders are jamming and the burn boxes. And there's just this one scene where a woman goes, they're in, and then she just quietly hangs up the phone. I read that, and zombie movies, the scene where you run into the supermarket and just grab all the stuff you can before I like those scenes. Give me a supercut of that.
I read a book called The Illusionist about the Brit who was in charge of sort of devising disinformation warfare for the English in World War II. Mm-hmm. And the opening scene of that book is in Cairo, right before the Germans overtake the city. Like, because things move slowly back then, right? They know that it's just a matter of time, and they are burning so many documents that the opening scene is like, it's basically snowing from the ash that they're burning at the like U.S. headquarters in Cairo. Pretty good opening scene. Anyway, as I was saying, you know what else has gone on a really long time? This episode, so I'm going to say Says Who, is made possible by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho. That's our Patreon, where pretty much every Sunday, not right now because of the whole death thing, but usually you get a whole nother bonus episode if you give it the $5 or $10 a month level. $10 a month level also gets you a sticker in the mail, and you're getting that fucker. That shit's happening anyway. So, you can rely on that shit. Taxes, death, and stickers from the Says Who Sticker Club. Patreon.com/sayswho. Our theme music was performed by Ted Leo. Our logo was designed by Darth.
My God.
You can contact us at SaysWhoPodcast.com on Blue Sky, at SaysWho at OMFG.town on Mastodon. You can always email it, hey, that's HEY at SaysWhoPodcast.com. You can always join the discussion on Facebook at /group/SaysWhovians. Our Facebook group is moderated by Janice Dillard. If you want to join the fan-run Discord server, you can always go to tinyurl.com/SaysWhoDiscord. Whatever you do, spread the word, subscribe, leave stars on reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever it is that you listen. And you can join us next week, whatever that day is, the 2nd of July. Yeah. For our very next episode. From my basement in finally not insanely hot Chicago, I am Dan Sinker.
And from the Five Cuomos here in New York City, where everything's going great. Great.
I think we'll know
Dan.
the outcome of this election by the next episode.
I would certainly hope so. I'm Maureen Johnson.
And this has been Says Who. Seriously, about who's going to win? Maybe the clown guy. Trick, that's everyone.